Hi, listeners. I have with me on the other end of this video the one and only Nashville fashion icon, Manuel Cuevas. Welcome, Manuel. I am so excited to have you on.
Likewise, dear. Uh, What can I do
so,
for you?
so Manuel, you got started with you learned very early how to sew, right? From your brother?
Yeah, very young. I was 7 years old. Yes.
Oh, wow. And then at 14, you were making prom dresses?
At 12, I was.
12. Oh, gosh.
Yes. Yes.
That's amazing. Um, so then early, still in your teen years, right? You migrated to the US from Mexico into Los Angeles?
Yes, to Hollywood. You can say that because LA is considered Hollywood, really, because of the people get involved in movies and singing and dancing and what have you.
Right.
So
So
that was my initiation in what you would call later on employment and business. I was never an employee of anybody. I only worked for my own as a young kid, and I survived all those years. And tailoring or designing was never my main thing. That is kind of a calling in my life because as a young kid, I was not at all even thinking about making clothes. But once I learned at the age of 7, I decided I would be making my own clothes forever. And ever since, I only make my own clothes.
I
I don't
love
buy
that.
anywhere anything, from any.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the only thing that I am guilty to wear is the fruit of the loom, but that's another story. In fact,
Well, I think
my
that would be very intricate to do that as well. I'm sure you could do it, but why?
why?
So, so what was your dream? What did you want to do before you learned to tailor and to create?
Well, I lived a normal life like any kid of my age at the time. I did the things that any kid does. You go to school, you go to grammar, you go to high school, you go to college, and you end up in university and do things, whatever, but there was never anything in common because at the beginning I got involved in a trade school, which is what I really wanted to. I learned so many things in that place that I became, I had like 7 masters in woodwork, woodworking, wood making, leather work of all kinds, and metals and jewelry. Well, I just got involved in everything I could my hands on. And I found that the Trade Institute to be the place to be. In fact, I would have loved to be there all my life, but you learn something and then they kick you out. You're ready to go. And of course,
Well,
and in the back of my mind was already, well, kind of dormant for almost a few years on and off, the tailoring thing. And I made a business out of making dresses. That's why I got into fashion, really, because I was tired of seeing the girls of yesterday wearing whatever was hanging in the Sears catalog. So I decided that I said, this is terrible. I was thinking of all the girls that were graduating at the time and between them were my sisters that also, they were celebrating their 15th anniversary. They were doing this and that, and then
right.
the proms, and then the wedding, and all that stuff. And so I was lucky enough to participate in all those things for the women all the time. maybe that's what kind of got me into what I do. Because when I got to LA, I just went there to pick up what you call your green card, and
Right.
I was, in fact, I promised all my associates in my little businesses that I'll be back the most in 2 months. Well, I never went back. I saw a little sign that said pants maker wanted, and I said I'm going to apply for a job. And what the funniest part of it all is that at the time, which is 1950, I was making so much money in Baja California. But just for the heck of it, I said, I'd like to get involved in this thing. And the birth of television and rock and roll kind of brought me closer to this idea. I I just became an addict. I got a job, and somebody just threw me into tailoring of high quality. It's just the opportunity was given to me by great people along the way, and it didn't take but 15, 16 months, and I was already working for Sidey Bore in Hollywood, and who at the time served, of course, the accounts of the Rat Pack and all that. And to me, to be initiated in something like that was fantastic. Just imagine a young kid at 20, come on, give me a break. So
And
you,
Frank Sinatra comes in.
well, I didn't know who Frank Sinatra was, but because at the time I was swinging to, you know, to Miller and to Glenn Miller and Tommy Dorsey and all those people of the time.
Sure.
But I changed quickly because I found out who Frank Sinatra was, and then I got to recognize all the characters, and plus I had to meet people that were really of my childhood.
Sure.
I got to meet one of my heroes, which was Johnny Weissmuller, Tarzan. Uh, and I got to dress him. I said, "Oh my God, that's a cool," you know, in a nice suit, of course, not Tarzan.
Sure.
And it brought me a lot of great memories, a lot of good things. And I decided one time after visiting the Rose Parade that I wanted to do kind of Western clothing. I kind of I like the cowboy life of the world. Western is beautiful to me, and I just love that. I got into it so heavily that I fell in the hands of all the superstars like John Wayne, Gregory Peck, Randolph Scott, people of that quality, Robert Mitchum,
Right.
and so many of them. And I got to do wardrobe for them through people that were really dedicated to that. I mean, one of those persons was, of course, Edith Head. I just felt that her friendship to me gave me a lot of qualities as a designer, and I just love that. And being young, like I said, you get the ambition of learning more and more and more, and that's how I got to where I am right now. After doing so many people from you name it, I've done it. And, presidents, kings, queens, stars of all qualities, and I just fell in love with the so-called career that I didn't know it existed. But
Yes.
I kind of forgot about other things that I learned, but I love because the adaptation of things that I had learned earlier, I applied later, and like making buckles and rings and jewelry and
Right.
special buttons for special coats, and
Right.
making the special clothing for so many different people, from Sonny and Cher to, oh my God, so
Elvis?
to the fonts. Well,
Ah, hey.
Elvis, the Jackson 5, all of them. And
Sure.
Prince and Beatles and Rolling Stones and what have you. But you know, my really heroes were like Jimi Hendrix, like Chicago, like America, like you know
Right.
Neil Young. I mean, through
Sure.
the years, I got to select my own music and my own people,
Sure.
and my friend Johnny Cash. I mean, all
So,
people became iconic because of the things
right.
they wear. You know.
Okay. So, Manuel, I have to ask you, are you the person responsible for Johnny Cash being known as the Man in Black?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a few references about that. I don't claim myself to be responsible because Johnny Cash wore black before. He
Okay.
was he was an interview with Barbara Walters, and I love the way he put it. He says, "Yeah, I wore after the question that you just did me. She
Uh-huh.
did to him." And she says, "Well, I'll tell you, I wore black before, but Manuel put me in better black." And then there was no, that's all we did. Black clothes for the guy in black. And he became iconic because of his talents, not because of my clothes. But, you know, being in black, there's
Sure.
even a book written about him, you know.
Yeah.
But I dressed him all, practically all his life,
That's
you know.
amazing. And
Yeah.
so
The
at
same with
which
others.
oh, sorry. At which point, Manuel, or with who, or if this happened, when did you think to yourself, I have definitely arrived?
Oh my God.
I
I,
mean,
I
surely you
had,
had that moment, right? I mean,
well, you know, vanity is poisoning. I kind
true.
of don't use it. I just think that I have been at the right place at the right time with the right people
Right.
most of my life, and
Right.
that's a gift, and I'm happy for that. But
Yeah.
it's a lot of other people, a lot of great designers. They are all my friends. I know all of them, whatever their names are. They do a heck of a job for fashion.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I don't do fashion. I do style.
You
And then
do.
I am only interested in people that entertain themselves in their own style, because fashion is
Yes.
everywhere. Everywhere in everybody's store is fashion.
Oh,
But
yes.
in every particular person in their closet, be her closet or his closet, there's style, and that's what it is. People pick the best they can for their look, and they go for it. And in my case, I make clothes for those that are really very, very, very particular about that. So they come to me, and you know, that's how I make my living. But I done
Right.
also, a lot of wardrobes for many movies, like 90 some movies, I remember,
Oh, wow.
cartoons and television shows of all kinds. And all that rubs on my, whatever you want to call it. I don't call it fame because it's not, but they rub on my history, let's put it that way.
Sure. Yeah. And I love that. Manuel, I'm not sure if your assistant told you, but I am just so excited to speak with you. I think you and I moved to Nashville around the same time frame.
Yeah? How come
And
you look so young and I look so old?
face cream, I guess. I don't know. um, but I went to work when I first moved here for Nashville Songwriters Association International.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure if my listeners know this, but they do an event called the Tin Pan South every
Uh-huh.
year. And it was a benchmark anniversary for them. I want to say it was maybe their 15th
Yeah,
10 Pan South or 25th or something.
yeah.
And
I went to many of those.
yes, you did a jacket or you loaned them a jacket for one of the shows at, like during that week.
Uh-huh.
And my supervisor, well, Jeff Meltison is the person who got to wear the jacket that
Uh-huh.
you loaned them. And
Yes.
he had that in his office, and I became an instant fan of yours. I had to know more. I had to find out what you did and how you got there and who you had dressed. And it was just instant. I have two people in the fashion industry or the style industry, as you say, that I absolutely love. And you are one of them. And you're right there next to Betsy Johnson in my book. I mean, you two are, I love your style and I love your talent and I love the looks that you guys produce. And I would love to know which piece or pieces are dearest to your heart. What do you think back and go, gosh, that is one that I particularly love?
Well, don't forget what I said. People they become iconic certain way.
Sure. Right.
And I know the signature of Elvis wasn't necessarily a pair of pants and a shirt, it was his jumpsuits. Okay?
Right. Yes.
Johnny Cash and other people of that caliber became the duster kind of person,
Mhm.
person with a little longer coat, blah blah blah, and that goes for Waylon, for Chris Christopherson, for a lot of people, and others were because of the tremendous style in Western clothing, like President Ronald Reagan, like LBJ, like Dwight Eisenhower, people of that category, you know. I mean, because they are notorious, they become iconic. So I made those clothes. But I love all my clothes the same way. They are all my children. They are the product of my own stuff, you know. I
Yes.
mean, uh, I could carry on forever, but you have the look of Elvis, you have the look of Johnny, you have the look of even Bob Dylan, for God's sakes, rested for
Right.
so many years.
And
And
Dwight Yoakam?
but also like the Ayoko, like Marty Stewart,
Sure.
those two kids are a vivid example of the bringing back country music in a dress style because other people, of course, iconic also, like Porter Wagner, like
Wagner?
Dolly
Yes.
Parton, like Kenny Rogers, like many of
Little
them.
Jimmy Dickens?
Little Jimmy, yeah, I mean, we could go forever mentioning names.
Yes.
But what if I miss a few? I'm gonna feel very bad.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry. I
dress
put you
all
on the
the
spot.
I dress all the girls, Loretta, Dolly,
Crystal
oh,
Gale?
everybody,
Oh my gosh.
everybody,
Right.
even the husband girl. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, it depended what we were doing, But sometimes those people became famous for their things. I think Saturday Night Live made John Travolta famous, but it was also the style that famous
Yes.
that famous polyester suit. Well, a lot of things I am proud of all of them because they are all my children, really. I look at my suits, the ones that are hanging around me right now too, just the same way. I mean, yes, there are some significant things that happen in my life, like to make the outfit and the mask for the Lone Ranger. when he was already a Lone Ranger, but he was the television man. You know, the 50s brought all this new thing to the world. I mean, it
Sure.
was the craziest times for the world because I remember Europe calling America crazy. Well, we had the rock and roll, we had the everything, you know,
Sure.
yeah, the new music, and then the hippie era and all that stuff. All of that affected somehow the dressage of the people. But
Sure.
I loved all those people. I mean, all those beautiful hippies that did trench jackets and sold them at the markets or tianguis, whatever you want to call them, flea markets or whatever. But I just all that is fashion in reality, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could take away and say, oh, I made the big bell bottoms for Sonny and Cher. But you know what? I did other things for other people that were also bell bottoms.
Sure.
You know, but somebody makes him iconic, and I think that Sonny and Cher did their share.
Yes, I agree
Yes,
with that.
you know, and I believe, for example, in Bobby Sherman, that little kid. I believe in David Cassidy. I believe in all those kids that participated. I remember the Beach Boys when they were young,
Right.
and then there's Wind and Fire, and then the Supremes, and then so many of them. I could go on mentioning people, but like I said, you know, they become real dress people, stars. Well, you know, come on. I think Brigitte Bardot was style. I dressed her a little bit. I dressed Twiggy a little bit. By the way, making Twiggy's clothes didn't take more than a half a yard.
Right. I would think so because Twiggy is Twiggy. So,
Yeah,
but
so
yeah,
we did a lot of things, you know. I
right.
remember doing hot pants for Europe, and then the Europeans became the hot pants producers.
Right. Yes.
America wasn't showing that much, you know, at the time.
I think we had a couple short hot pants phases.
Yeah, yeah, of
So,
course. But after the fact that Europe had done,
yes, of
that,
course.
you know,
Yeah.
so many times we do things that are really nice, and the person shows. I mean, my friend who I gave him the prize of the Moda Award 10 years after he died, my friend Manuel Trevira, who made the white dress, just a cocktail dress oh, yeah, the bomb. Yeah, yeah.
B-52s? Who?
I'm talking about the blonde
The
bomb of our
blonde.
country, you know, Marilyn
Oh,
Monroe. He did
Marilyn
that
Monroe.
dress. And that dress
Um,
became iconic. The one in
right.
front of the one in front of the air fan. Like,
Yes.
okay, well, you know, a person they become iconic for wearing something, you know,
Yes.
and some
I
for wearing
agree.
nothing.
That
But
is also very true.
yes, so the fact that we make them, well, I feel good about it. I feel the participation was glorious, was nice, and I love it. But the proud things, they go back to the Lone Ranger. I did the Lone Ranger outfit. I am proud of that. I did a lot of movies with John Wayne, with a lot of actors of all kinds, and
Sure.
and they became famous, iconic because of the great work that they done all their lives.
Right.
I mean, come on, we do things like that, but somebody was discussing whether I made the right glove for what for
Michael Jackson.
for Michael Jackson. I said, how do I know if I made the right or the left? I don't care. All I know is I made about 26, 30 pairs for him.
Oh, wow.
Big deal. You
That's a
know,
lot of
and
gloves.
I know. But I'm not going to claim that I did the right one or the left one. Or cares? No, really,
Right.
some people really, really hang on that stuff.
They do.
I'm
It's
just glad that I can say bluntly, I dressed mostly everybody, and I was very happy doing it. And if there is any fame being taken from them for that, I don't want it. I love it because they are great entertainers, great talented
right.
people that deserve they shine just by themselves. They don't need me
That's
alone.
true.
Although they think, hey, make me another this, another suit this way, that way. Some of them even call me today and say, hey, make me this suit before you grow up, old man. I said, of course.
Oh gosh.
But that's the way it is. But sometimes you don't get to make a lot of clothes for all of them because you can't. I like to
Sure.
make unique pieces, you know.
Right.
And when somebody famous wears something that I do, like Lady Gaga, that doesn't mean that I make her clothes. There's somebody making a lot of clothes for her. I don't have the time to make so much clothes.
Sure.
I make something that becomes iconic, but it's because they are iconic, because they are great artists. Talking about Gaga, I mean, what an intelligent young girl and beautiful. I love her to pieces, you know.
Sure.
But I wouldn't brag about, oh, I did this, I did that. I didn't know people care about that, but I guess they do.
I guess. Yeah.
When I was starting business, I felt that. Some of my friends would say, I did the clothes for whatever. I said, no kidding. But good for you. But it never crossed my mind that I wanted to brag about things. But I do love my clients. I mean, I've done clothes for 4 presidents of this country.
I
I love
believe. I
I
believe
love
it.
their clothes. No, well, I love their clothing, but that's as far as I can. But I've done a lot of important people of all places, all countries, and I
Sure.
love it. And some people have that kind of a pride. They want to have something made by somebody that did somebody else. That's fine.
Sure.
I love that.
Well, you and I have a mutual acquaintance, Ray Remington,
Yeah. Yes.
musician.
Yes.
Um, he told me a story about he came in to get a suit made by you, and
Yeah.
he had something in mind, and you said, "I think we should do a different color." uh, and he was like, "Okay." And I thought that was great. I was like, well, Ray, I think Manuel has vision. So I think you can trust him.
Yeah. Well, with the assurance that they don't have to buy anything from me. I tell them, I said, hey, if you don't like it, please tell me. I
Sure.
don't, I'm so used to the opposite that I don't care if somebody comes and says, hey, come on. This doesn't go with me or something. There's a lot of people done that with me, but there is always the truth. And at the end of the day, it is what it is.
True.
I just try to help them, especially when I know that I am doing another piece for somebody the same color. I just, I kind of try to talk them out of it. I say, hey, do this, do that. But I don't tell them why. I just try to make sense and you know, get to a point of agreement, and that's how they make it because they're happy, they trust their clothes. I said, when you put some of my clothes on, I don't want you to be worried about the buttons or the looks or the lapels or the color. I want you to
Sure.
do your craftsmanship and go and kill them.
Yeah.
But I normally say,
Yeah, I think I'm just blown away. I'm so happy that you're in Nashville and you know, I love it here. I I'm assuming you love it here as much as I do. But actually I assume that about everyone pretty much who lives here. I'm like, "Do you love Nashville?" I love Nashville.
But
But
apart from being a beautiful city, I love the behavior of the people. And it's until
yes.
now that it's becoming a big city that we see some behavioral changes that are not that good. But Nashville preserves that history. I mean, just tell me where is a city in the world that is called Music City, USA? Nowhere. Only here.
Nowhere.
That's
We've
right.
got the run on that market.
Right?
We definitely have that one covered.
But yeah, we have the musicians, we have the singers, we have the entertainment, we have the genuinity of the people, you know. They're so nice and so accommodating. And, you know, when I see people from other states, they come in, why do you say hi to me? I don't know you. They don't understand. It's that weird, you know. But hey, we're here. I'm proud to be here. Nashville is definitely my my little second country here.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, well, Manuel, thank you so much for coming on my show today. I have thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you. And listeners, I just want to say today I was offered the rare opportunity to speak with one of my style icons, one of my two, as I mentioned earlier. And Manuel, thank you again so much. And I hope you guys have a good week. Don't forget to
Thank
leave me
you.
a 5-star review and drop me a line on Apple Podcasts. I'd love to hear from you guys. And Manuel, thanks again.
Yeah, well, thank you all for listening too. You know, I gotta thank you, audience, and you
Absolutely.
know, we all have the chance. We all take it, and we can become whatever we want to.
Absolutely.